What's going on, guys? Welcome back to JXT Productions. Today, it is that time again. I am going to be ranking every episode of The Amazing World of Gumball Season 3 from the worst to the best. I will say, for reasons I'll explain later in the video, this is probably the hardest season I have had to rank yet. So just keep in mind that my ranking could easily change as early as tomorrow. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Number 40, The Bros. This was the only episode of the entire season that I actually disliked. I mean, a lot of the episode is just Darwin being a complete jerk to Gumball and Penny. And the episode isn't all bad. There are some funny scenes, like when Darwin is helping Gumball win Penny back. But overall, this was an easy choice for my least favorite episode of the season. Number 39, The Law. This episode is just very okay. To me, the Donut Cop has never been one of the more memorable characters of the show. But the episode isn't bad overall. Number 38, The Nobody. This is the episode that really changed Rob from a forgettable background character to an awesome villain. And although I might have this episode very low on the ranking, I still think it's a decent episode. Number 37, The Triangle. Being a musician, this episode is pretty relatable for me. Number 36, The Extras. Maybe I'm alone on this, but this episode really reminds me of The World from Season 2. But this is still a good episode. Number 35, The Fraud. This is probably the best scene in the episode.
Swag, rap music.
What the what?
Piercings, YOLO, hashtag, MP3, tweets, selfies, skinny jeans, LO.
I'm sorry, Principal Brown, but you look like such a jerk that even a granola-crunching pacifist like me had to do something about it.
Fair enough.
Number 34, The Friend. There are a lot of funny scenes in this episode involving Anais and this weird guy trying to become friends. Number 33, The Gripes. I thought this episode was pretty dang good. It's also one of the biggest examples of how crazy the town of Elmore can be. Number 32, The Coach. I like the twist at the end where it turns out that Coach is a woman and is also Jamie's mom. Number 31, The Burden. Principal Brown and Miss Simeon are probably my favorite part of the episode.
Romance! Now!
Whoa!
Ah!
Ra-da-da-doo.
Number 30, The Man. This was the first episode where we saw the relationship between Granny JoJo and Louie, and, well, it's one of Gumball's weaker relationships. But I do really like this episode, mostly because of how hilarious Richard is. Number 29, The Fan. I really like this episode. The best part is probably watching Gumball and Darwin react to Sarah's weirdness. Number 28, The Society. I think this episode is really great. I loved watching Gumball and Darwin react to Sarah's weirdness, but what I love even more is watching the whole school react to Gumball's weirdness. Number 27, The Downer. I love this episode, but my favorite part has to be this scene.
So, how do you guys like my loaf loaf? Oh, it's nice. It's like all the flavors collide and explode in your mouth, giving a distinctive burnt tire taste.
Dude, I love what you did with the onions. And it was great to taste them again. I would say we were gonna get food poisoning, but there's no way this counts as food.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but you say food is like food. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good.
Number 26, The Recipe. Who knew you could get such a good episode out of pieces of talking toast? Number 25, The Egg. I know Anais and Billy become enemies later in the show, but I really enjoyed seeing them together in this episode. And I love this song that they sing.
Just you and me could live a life of perfect harmony, but satisfying intellectually, and with suburbia goodbye.
Number 24, The Puppy. An episode about Gumball, Darwin, and Anais trying to take care of a vicious turtle. Who wouldn't watch it? Number 23, The Mothers. I love this episode. From Gumball, Darwin, Tobias, and Banana Joe's hilarious interactions, to the mom-off, to Nicole saving Gumball and Darwin at the end, it's all so good. Number 22, The Name. This is a fantastic episode with some pretty great voice acting from Jacob Hopkins, who has to play both Gumball and Zack. Two very different people who are also the same person. However, before this episode, I always thought Gumball's name was Gumball. Number 21, The Boss. This episode is definitely something. Let me describe the plot. Gumball and Darwin make Mr. Robinson so mad that he ends up blowing a fuse and loses a lot of stuffing. An ambulance comes and the doctors say he needs a transfusion. Gumball and Darwin recommend his son Rocky, but Mr. Robinson thinks that Rocky is a loser and would rather get stuffing from a turkey. So Gumball and Darwin help Rocky get an office job to make his dad proud. However, the company that they get the office job from ends up being evil and steals Rocky's soul. So it's up to Gumball and Darwin to get Rocky's soul back and get him to the hospital to give his father the transfusion that he needs. Wow. What an episode. Number 20, The Butterfly. This episode is pure chaos, and I love it. Number 19, The Procrastinators. This might be the most relatable episode of the show. I don't think that there is a single person who has not procrastinated at least once in their life. Plus, I love this line.
Gumball, you're such a procrastinator that you were 4 years old before you finished your first sentence. And even then it was, I'll do it tomorrow.
Number 18, The Move. Tobias is the best part of this episode.
Hey girl.
Number 17, The Password. Anais is an evil genius. Just like in the remote, she outsmarts her entire family here, and it is awesome. Number 16, The Spoiler. I'm a guy who loves to watch movies, so Gumball making an episode about how hard it is to avoid movie spoilers is automatically gonna get on my good side. Number 15, The Safety. I like the message that this episode has, which is that sometimes life isn't safe, and that's just something you have to accept. Number 14, The Allergy. This is just such a fun and entertaining episode with some of Mr. Small's funniest moments.
Don't worry, I've got a diploma in the ancient art of acupuncture.
Really?
Yeah, I bought it on the internet. It came with a scuba diving license and a dog breeding permit.
Number 13, The Saint. I know I've said this about a lot of characters, but Alan is one of the best characters in Gumball, and this is one of his best episodes. Number 12, The Oracle. This is another episode that is just one crazy thing after another, and that's something that works really well for this show. Number 11, The Question. This is a fantastic episode, but now I'm kind of wondering what Mr. Small's answer would have been.
I've got the answer!
Number 10, The Joy. This is such an amazing episode. It's basically a horror movie in Gumball style. It's dark, it's creepy, it's funny at times, it's awesome. Number 9, The Lie. I have a lot of thoughts about this episode, so I'm just gonna say them really fast. Here we go. The joke about Gumball singing is hilarious, the joke about animation is hilarious, that clay Gumball looks amazing, I want one. That Slizzletag sweater looks amazing, I want one. The Slizzlewurst looks disgusting, but also kind of delicious, which was probably the point. This is horrifying, which, again, was probably the point. Is Richard supposed to be naked here? I can't tell. I love how they celebrate Slizzletag by singing grindcore and dressing up in these heavy metal type outfits. And this is a fantastic episode. Number 8, The Mirror. I really like Carrie as a character. She started off kind of mediocre in Season 1, but she became a really good character starting with Season 2. And I like how they add this cool little backstory about her parents. That being said though, everything in this episode that doesn't involve Carrie is great too. Number 7, The Void. This episode is great. It's super creative, super hilarious, and despite everyone in the show calling her extremely boring, I actually like Molly as a character. But I also have to give this episode credit for making Mr. Small right for once. Number 6, The Shell. Okay, I know a lot of people are gonna be mad that I don't have this at number 1. For a lot of people, this is the best episode of Gumball. And although it's not my favorite episode, I definitely get why a lot of people would call it their favorite. It's got a beautiful love story, beautiful animation. This scene. It's a fantastic episode that deserves every little bit of praise it gets. Number 5, The Vacation. This has gotta be one of my favorite vacation episodes out of any show I've seen. It also kind of reminds me of Graveyard Shift from SpongeBob because they both have a character who tells a scary story, then the scary story starts happening in real life, which freaks everybody out, and then it turns out that the scary story wasn't coming true at all. It's a plot that works really well for both Graveyard Shift and this episode. Number 4, the money. Creative, hilarious, crazy, animation changes, a couple good songs, it all comes together to create a fantastic episode that also has a pretty interesting message about how, without money, your whole world falls apart. Also, Gumball has one of the best screams I've ever heard. Number 3, the pizza. I think that this is a fantastic episode with a creative plot, some hilarious interactions between the Wattersons, and some hilarious references to Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Planet of the Apes. Number 2, the countdown. This is one out of many episodes that shows just how much of a great duo Gumball and Darwin can be. It's also really creative and leaves you wondering what's going to happen next. Unless you're me and you've seen this episode 1,000 times. And at number 1, the kids. Actors Logan Grove and Kwesi Bawache were getting older, and their voices were getting a little deep to play Gumball and Darwin. Rather than handling this like most shows probably would by just having the old actors in one episode and the new actors in the next, they decided to make a full episode dedicated to transitioning the voice actors. And I am so glad that they did, because it resulted in one of the best Gumball episodes of all time. This episode is hilarious, it's creative, it's relatable, and it's got the best song in Gumball. They also managed to find 2 very good replacements for Gumball and Darwin with Jacob Hopkins and Terrell Ransom Jr. And that's all the episodes. So, in the beginning of this video, I said that so far, this is the hardest season I've had to rank. And the reason for that is because, well, the only episode I really thought was bad was The Bros. And the only episode I really thought was mediocre was The Law. So that leaves 38 episodes that were either decent, good, or really good. So with a lot of the episodes being really good, it was just kinda hard to rank them. So with that being said, I don't think it's surprising at all that I'm going to give this season a 9.5 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry this video took so long to make, but I hope it was worth it, and I'll try to get my ranking of Season 4 out as soon as I can. But until then, this is JXD Productions, signing off.